How old am I? 51. I started at 37.
How long did you do it?
14. It's hard math to do. You gotta carry the one. Like it's hard. Like, I'll do it for you. Don't worry. Let's just jump right into this vlog. Under the Gun opens to $30, and we find an easy 3-bet with pocket jacks from the cutoff to $100. He calls. 9-3-3 with 2 diamonds. There's not much to worry about here, and when he checks, I continue for $80. He calls again. The turn 6 of diamonds would be a smidge bit more worrisome if I wasn't holding a diamond. I am. He checks and I check it back, a bit for deception, a bit for defense, and a bit to induce. Basically, a little bit of everything. The river brings the 7 of diamonds, and now the Under the Gun player leads for $100. I'm now holding a jack high flush, and it's time to see which of my bits have come to fruition. I call, he turns over 2 black 10s, so I guess it was the inducing bit? The next hand, as in the very next hand, action is folded to me and I look down at pocket kings. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. No action. Here, Under the Gun opens to 30. Normally a strong hand, but not always. The button 3-bets to $90, and chances are that this is a strong hand as live players don't 3-bet nearly enough. And I, on the big blind, look down at, oh boy.
We got a problem here? We got a problem, nigga? What up with this?
We find the cold 4-bet to $300, and the Under the Gun player exits immediately. The button doesn't. Heads up in a 4-bet pot out of position with the hand that's ended a million poker careers. Fun. Queen, deuce, 9, rainbow. Perfect. Just perfect. I guess this guy just gets my entire stack. We start with the $220 bet because I'd like to slide him all my chips over piecemeal, but he just folds. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Seriously? Okay. $25. Low jack calls. Big blind calls. Queen 8-3 rainbow. Big blind checks. I check. Low jack checks. 4 spades. There's 2 spades now. Big blind checks. I check. Low jack $40. Big blind folds. I guess you either have a queen or a spade draw. Call. Queen of clubs. You still going to try to rep that queen? Go for it. Check. He checks and shows me ace jack of spades. Limp, 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 and the small blind limps. 4 ways. And I look down at them boys again. I race to $70. And once again, no action. So far this session, I've actually been picking up decent starting hands and then getting very little action. In this one, the Under the Gun 2 player opens to $30 and... what? This hand is ridiculous. It's like it knows that I hate it, and it keeps coming around. Like tax season. Legally obligated, I raise to $100, and surprisingly, this ends the hand. I'm running good today. The button opens to $30, and since at this point he's the only one giving action, I give him a little back by calling with Jack 10 offsuit. You know what? Who am I fooling? I'm always at least calling with this hand in this spot anyway. Heads up, we see Jack, King, Queen, Rainbow. I check. He bets $40 and I obviously call. The turn 10 of hearts is interesting. I now have 2 pair, but there's a one-liner to a straight on board. I check again, willing to call reasonable bets, but he checks it back. Questions about whether I have the best hand are quickly extinguished when the ace of hearts hits the river, putting a straight on the board. Now I lead for $140, knowing that if he calls, it's a chop, but sometimes people misread the board. You never know. He calls, turns over 2 black aces, and we chop. I don't know if that's legally a suck out. I guess. Maybe.
Except I forgot one thing. I can dodge bullets, baby.
Positions and tendencies are very, very important. In this next hand, I opened to $25 in late position with ace-queen offsuit and the button flats. The small blind now haphazardly 3-bets to $155. Remember what I said earlier about live players not 3-betting enough? And now I'm catching one from the small blind? When the big blind folds, I snap fold behind and the button does as well. He doesn't have to. But the small blind shows us ace-king suited.
It's like a video game night. This video game of fuzzy memory dying over again. It's like a video game night. This video game of fuzzy memory dying over again. It's like a video game night. This video game of fuzzy memory dying over again. It's like a video game at night. This video game of fuzzy memory dying over again.
I'm slightly out of line in this next one. Bellagio reg opens to $30 and the hijack calls. I call as well from the cutoff with queen 9 of clubs. We see this flop 3 ways. Deuce 4-3 with 2 clubs. The original opener c-bets for $70 and the hijack calls again. 2 overs and a flush draw. I come along. The turn pairs the 3 and, what a coincidence, 3 players check. The 9 of spades hits the river and the original opener checks again. The hijack now bets $240. Whoa. Whoa. What's that? Either you have a 3 and you're upset because no one bet the turn and now you're trying to recoup the turn value on the river, or you have total air. I tank, select the total air option, and call. The original opener folds and the hijack sheepishly shows me ace-queen offsuit.
It's like a video game at night. This video game of fuzzy
Looking down at King Queen of Diamonds on the button definitely warrants an open. I make it $30 and get quickly called by the small blind. 10 of diamonds, 5 of diamonds, 7 of spades. He checks and I continue for $40. I would expect to hear from sets and maybe some draws here in the form of a check raise. But he just calls. So I narrow his range down to pocket nines, some tens, and maybe some flush draws. When the turn ace of hearts shows up, he leads out for $50. Well, that's unexpected. That ace definitely isn't my favorite card, and I could be drawing dead if he floated the flop with ace-x of diamonds, but I find the $50 call anyway. The river king of clubs isn't necessarily one of the cards I was looking for, but I'll take it. He bet $70 and well, I've come this far. I call. He says, "You're good," and tables queen 10 offsuit.
It's like a video game at night, this video game of fuzzy memory dying over again. It's like a video.
This one is folded to me on the button and hot damn. A real ace king. The true ace king. This is the version of ace king that fights for the people. Ace king suited. I open to $30 and get called by not one, but both blinds. 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 6 of spades. My hand is really good. This board is not. When they check, I do the same. The 9 of diamonds turn doesn't improve anything, and I make my exit here after the small blind leads for $60 and gets called by the big blind. Mid-session update time. It's rare. It's rare that a hand happens that I don't get recorded, that I desperately wish I had recorded. But it happened. This session, I've been playing well. Built up a stack. Things were going great. Big hands were holding up. I was winning hands I was supposed to win. I was winning some hands that I don't think others would have won. And I was losing the ones I was supposed to lose. Perfect. And then a hand happened that I didn't get recorded, where I flopped the nut flush with king, queen of hearts, and lost the sizable one to quad aces. So, after all my hard work, I was back to like up, dust, like a tiny bit. And now I'm up a little bit more. I think right now, I'm up maybe 400 or 500 bucks. And we're just in there working. We're in there grinding again. But like I said, mid-session update, although it's probably closer to the end of session. I think I got here at like 7 in the morning and it's probably about 1 o'clock. So we'll give it a couple more hours. We'll see what happens. We will try very hard not to flop any more nut flushes and run into quads. That's the goal for the second half of this session. By the way, that was one take. One take, let's go. We're back in the bag. All right.
Are we gonna be able to check it down?
No,
I have really bad cards.
No. I gotta make this one work. I
hope I improve.
I gotta do work to make this one happen.
There's one in a million. I look at the mirror and ask myself, man, are you the hero or villain? But who am I kidding? This time I shake up the building. This time I'm picking up arms. They harming the women and children. Look at the way that we work to get very assertive. Look at the faces, very alert. And look at the way they're burying persons. All for the name of sharing a purpose. So I inspire the youth. I'm wearing a cape, they're wearing a curtain. Look in the mirror, I'm seeing their face. I pray they never rehearse it. I'm shaking the building. Man, they better feel this. Wake them up, it's time for the realness. Now ain't no more yielding. I got more to give it, I'm willing.
I know I said at the mid-session update I was only going to play for another hour, hour and a half, maybe 2. That 2 turned into another 5. We logged like 11, 12-hour session today.